How is everyone doing? It is Mark here with another video. First of all, I would like to congratulate Carter Sar, who won the mystery box giveaway off of my Twitter account. I'm sure there's going to be more giveaways coming up in the near future. So a lot of you guys have been asking me about the setup I have on my Mac in terms of software I use, the way I set it up, organization, files, all that fun stuff. So that's exactly what I'm going to do for you guys today. So first things first is, what computer do I use? So right now I'm using an early 2013 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina display. This is the i7 model with 8 gigs of RAM. So the only thing that I needed to upgrade when purchasing this computer was its storage. So I went from the 256 gigabyte SSD to the 512. The reason for this upgrade is because I wanted to be able to partition into Windows using bootcamp. So for me, I have Mac available to me as well as Windows in case of any software that needs to use Windows. Great solution. So once you open up the computer, you'll be greeted by the El Capitan wallpaper. I like to keep the Apple ones. They're just very clean and very pretty and make everything just look a little bit more professional for me personally. However, you'll notice also that there's only one file on the desktop. There's not much clutter, and there's definitely not a lot of things going on in the dock below. So the one file that I have here is the title page template for my school projects. So every week, every day, basically, I would be printing one of these off for an assignment or a project or anything that I needed to hand in. I needed to print one of these. So this is the only file that I need like that. Everything else is nicely organized in my Finder using lots of folders and lots of organization, and my OCD really kicks in when it comes down to these kind of things. So taking a look at the dock here, there's not much going on. So from left to right, we have the typical stuff. We have the Finder, Launchpad, sticky notes. I use sticky notes primarily to take down notes if I'm ever surfing the web and I need to note something down. TwitterBot, which is kind of the Twitter application of my choice at the moment. I'm very content with just twitter.com, but for some reason I feel that when I'm using TwitterBot, my browser does not get as cluttered and I feel like the computer's running much smoother. And then I have Google Chrome, which is the browser of choice. The reason I use Google Chrome over Safari, especially with that I'm using Mac, is because all the websites and all the services that I use online, which are basically all Google driven, so YouTube, Gmail, Gcalendar, or Google Calendar, stuff like that, and Google Chrome is really optimized to utilize all of those features of all of those platforms, maximize and bring down the speed, and that's exactly what I want. Then you have the mail application, which I do use for my main Hotmail accounts. Then you have the Gmail icon, messages, iTunes, and then the two editing softwares that I use to make the videos possible. First off is Motion, and then Final Cut Pro. So what I use with Motion is basically any of the tracking that's being done, or any of the fancier titles, if you will, that all happens in Motion. And then all the compiling, cutting, pasting, music, all that fun stuff is done through Final Cut Pro. And that's basically everything that is going on the blank screen. But there's a bunch of applications that I feel like you guys probably want to know about, and how do I use them to maximize my time. So I take advantage of the spotlight feature, similarly like I do on my iPhone. To use it on the Mac, all you have to do is Command Space, and you search for the application you want to use. So for example, if I wanted to open Word, instead of going into the Launchpad, finding Word, or even having it on my dock, what I do is Command Space, and I type in the word Word, and hit enter, and Word pops up just seconds later, and I'm able to use it. And if anything I need, so I don't even have contacts or anything down below, all I have to do is type in the name of who I want. For example, my girlfriend, Naomi. There you go, there's all her contact information, and I am able to call her from here using my phone, or even just sending her a quick text, email, whatever the case may be. I can do it all from right here. So some more applications that I'm sure you guys want to see. If we take a look at the Launchpad, so starting from left to right, I like to bunch everything as much as possible. So I have all my Google stuff in one folder, all my productivity stuff, so basically my Office suite is in one folder, and then I have my graphics and design. That basically is my Photoshop, my Final Cut, my Motion, all that kind of suite, and also my Audacity. Audacity is a software that I use that I try to fix my audio. Audio is something that I feel like I can improve on a lot when it comes to these videos. That's the next purchase for this channel, is a better mic and audio interface. Hopefully that will improve a lot of the audio. Then comes the Autodesk. So as a civil engineer, I use a lot of Autodesk products such as Civil 3D, AutoCAD, Revit, bunch of stuff. So that is very important to me to have. Next up, I have this SketchUp folder, which I call Untitled. So basically, anytime that I want to make something really quick and very pretty looking, just for some template ideas that I throw that into SketchUp, and it allows me to create a three-dimensional figurine of what I want. So in the others folder is just a bunch of apps that I don't use day to day or even month to month, just kind of there in the background, for example, Graphic. But then all over the page are a bunch of apps that I use, for example, Notability, Safari, Mail, Contacts, Calendars, Reminders. Those are kind of the more day-to-day, if you will, applications that are used, but I don't really use a Launchpad that much. I always use the Spotlight feature, and it takes basically no time at all to do that. Now I'm gonna open up Chrome just to show you guys how I have everything set up. So when you open up Google Chrome, I have four tabs that pop open at the same time that are kind of the four that I check the most and that I check every time I'm on the internet. So basically Google, in case you want to search anything, my Gmail account, my Google Calendar, and my YouTube. Those are the four sites that I use the most frequently. Definitely all part of the Google suite, so that's why I use Chrome over Safari in this case. But if I ever need to open up a new tab, I have a few bookmarks that I have at my disposition. So starting us off on the left is my school stuff, so my info, which is basically all my school transcripts, all the school documentation, my course link, which is basically all the course links, literally, to any courses that I'm taking, my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Netflix. A very interesting site here, Casey Music, is basically a site where you click on Casey Neistat's face and it plays the music that he's used in his vlogs and similar genres. And finally, my favorite on Hype Machine, which is basically where I find any new music that I'm really into. That's where I go and I find it. Hype Machine is a great site. Alright guys, so that's basically everything that's on my MacBook Pro that allows me to do the day-to-day stuff. On the Windows partition, there isn't much there. That's the reason why I decided not to show it too much on this video. There is only some software that I use for my engineering stuff. If you guys would like to see that, please hit the like button down below. And if you guys feel like being super awesome, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button down below. It all really helps me out. Thank you again, and see you on the next one.